How do we keep young men out of the hands of the Manosphere? As a men's author, a men's coach, and the founder and leader of a men's movement for over a decade now, this question has come across my desk dozens and dozens of times in the past few weeks since the Manosphere documentary came out. Whether you're a father, whether you're a mother, whether you're a brother, whether you're an uncle, whether you're just a man who cares about young men, this is a very, very pertinent question. And in this video, I'm going to outline 3 specific ways that nobody is going to like on how we solve or get to some of the root of this problem. So here we go. Number 1, we drop the term toxic masculinity. As a society, as a culture, as therapists, as teachers, as whomever, we get together and say, okay, I get what the term means. I get that there's shitty male behavior. I get that there's toxic male behavior. I get that we needed something around the Me Too era where we needed to be able to label men doing bad things or the cultural expression of masculinity leading to stuff that's really, really harmful. I get it. When I wrote Man UNcivilized in 2018, one of my most controversial chapters was right here, the Toxic Masculinity Myth. And again, I hold men to an extraordinarily high standard. And the argument someone right now in my comments on this video is going to make is toxic masculinity isn't saying all masculinity is toxic. I get that. I get that. And I've asked in dozens of workshops all over the world, do you think that the term toxic masculinity means all masculinity is toxic? And nobody does. But then I ask everybody in the workshop, raise your hand if you have a high school degree. Every hand goes up. Raise your hand if you have a college degree. Most of the hands go up. Raise your hand if you have a graduate degree or higher. Some of the hands go up. So you can take a term and you can apply your education, you can apply your life experience, and you can tease out the nuance of it. Now I ask them this question as a follow-up. If you were a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old little boy, and you heard that term over and over and over again, would you be able to tease out the nuance of it? Or on some level, would you think, holy smokes, being a boy is bad, being a man is bad, masculinity is bad, masculinity is toxic? Until we get rid of that term as a group, we will continue to have a chunk, a generation, multiple generations of young men who inherently think there's something wrong with them or something bad about being male. Again, we can separate that from male behavior that's problematic. But as long as we're feeding this young generation the idea that there's something wrong with them inherently, the scarlet letter or the original sin, that's what I'm looking for. That being born male is an original sin. Until we stop doing that, we will not stop the men who go, hey boys, guess what? I got a different way for you to see the world. I think masculinity is amazing. I think you being a man is amazing. As a matter of fact, it's better than being anything else. Let me show you why. Come join my group. So we got to get rid of the term toxic masculinity. Number 2, this is also going to upset some people. We have to get rid of the idea of the real men, a real man. What is that? What is a real man? What is a not real man? Is there a fake man? Now, again, put yourself back in the shoes of a young man who grew up hearing there's something wrong with being a man, and then fast forwarded 10 years to 8 years, 9 years, and he keeps hearing the idea, but real men do X. Where are all the real men? Where are the real men? There's no real men left. I want to date a real man. I want to marry a real man. Real men do such and such. What that young man hears is there's some kind of qualification. In order for me to be valid, right? That's what the term real means. Like, you're valid, you're real. We acknowledge that you're real. You've qualified into masculinity. You've qualified into manhood. Usually we used to have an initiation, which we now don't, to get you into manhood, but that's a whole nother conversation. Stick to the task at hand. something wrong with being a man. You're toxic masculinity. But to be desirable, to be relationable, to be someone wants to have sex with, to be someone who gets power and status and good things in the world, we're going to have you have this vague, really undefinable set of qualifications called being a real man. Now, until you're this thing, by the way, you won't have access to relationship. You won't have access to sex. You won't have access to high-paying jobs and status and things that, with consciousness, are really good. So you see the juxtaposition that I'm trying to set up here. I've watched this over the past decade. An entire generation going, man, there's something wrong with me for being born male. And oh, now I need to qualify into the real man category because that's what society wants. That's what women want. And we can say, well, why should they just want what women want? Do we really have to ask that? So much of society is around relationship, marriage, kids, family, sex, all right? So yeah, you want to be qualified into that group. We have to get rid of those two terms. Now, what do we replace them with? Mature masculine, initiated masculine. All men are real men, but being a man comes with responsibility. Being a real man comes with maturity. Being a real man comes with an initiation into the levels of power that you suddenly have in a grown man's body with a grown man's status. If we don't have these two things, then holy crap. Along come the alphas and say, hey guys, guess what? Again, there's nothing wrong with being born male. And by the way, I'll teach you how to be a real man. You know what a real man does? He controls his woman. He makes a lot of money. He treats women like garbage. He doesn't let his woman talk to anybody. He checks her phone. He's toxic. He's a toxic man. He's an uninitiated, immature man. All right, that's number one and number two. Number three, and this is on us. This is on the older guys. We have to show these young men what an integrated model of masculinity looks like by having a relationship with power. How many of us grew up with men modeling this is what consciousness and power is? See that? Consciousness and power, a gorilla and a Buddha, primal and divine. That is what uncivilized masculinity is. And I'm not just pushing uncivilized. The more men we can have integrate themselves, work through their shit, go to therapy, figure out their own shadow, figure out our own relationship issues with power, the better we can model this for the young guys. What did you want to do when you were younger? You wanted to be like the older guys. So if the older guys are just as unintegrated, just as addicted, just as acting out, just as toxic, legitimately toxic men, if that's the only model these young guys see, do you not see how easy it is that they would just get shuttled right into that gang where they're told they're good, where they're told they belong, where they're told they'll be given the secrets, the keys to the elusive kingdom of being a man? Here it is, it's quantified. It's quantified when it's being sold by the Manosphere. It's how much money you make, it's how many abs you have, it's how many women you can sleep with. If we don't like that, we have to give them a better example. And that is an integrated man, a whole man, a man who can hold power and responsibility, who's worked through the shadow of his sexuality, who's dealt with his wounds, a man who actually knows who he is and is mature enough to say to those young men, come with me, let me show you a better way. So if we really, really want to keep young men out of the Manosphere, we have to stop producing the environment that pushes them into it by telling them they're toxic and having some weird, elusive qualification to be real. And then we have to show them a better example. If you like this video, please comment, please share it. Please check out what we have for you below in the caption.